This episode of the Stickers and Scuffs podcast has been brought to you by Remax Jack. Jack provides a friendly, customer-driven service in search for homes and provides excellent details on the market, values, and trends in buying and selling. Jack has been able to work with Cam on his search and always makes himself available when he has a question. Remax Jack will help you if you're looking to buy or sell a home within the GTA. He's who Cam K trusts to find his next home, and he should be yours too. Remember, call Remax Jack and start to pack. For more information, go to remaxjack.ca.
G'day, friends. This is Cam K once again for the Stickers and Scuffs podcast with my good buddy. Look at that stash, man. The Dale stash coming in nice and beautiful on my good buddy Graydon Bunn and our special guest. He's got, I guess he's got a little bit of a stash going there too. It's hard to kind of see from the angle here. It's got a little something there. Corey Halbert joining us for the first time. Corey, welcome to the Stickers and Scuffs podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's a little more of a baby stash, though. It's we're trying hard, but we're working on it.
Yeah, you know, Graydon and I, we kind of had to have a head start. We can't do the whole growing it in a month because, frankly, this is as good as it gets for me. So
I'm maxed right now. I've been trying for 41 years. So this is all I got. So here we go.
Yeah,
but I'm trying my best. But blonde hair doesn't really give you any benefits.
Hey,
yeah,
you know what?
Fair enough.
I tell you though, you get a blonde stash like what's his name, McConaughey, and
all right.
Absolutely.
That's the way to do it, man. We're glad to have you on, and racing out of Brighton Speedway, and frankly, that is a track that I am complete novice to. I don't know much about it, so what we'll do, let's get started, Corey, with just your background. Racing in Canada is not something that everybody, as you see now, is being adventurous, jumping up on stuff while I'm trying to talk here. But it's not something that a lot of Canadians go out doing right away. They're either into their hockey or their lacrosse or in the curling. So why racing for you?
To be completely honest, I grew up actually hockey. Hockey was my passion, and so was baseball. But about around 16, when I got a driver's license, I decided, it's time to start doing some fun stuff with the car. Pretty much once I got a license, it turned into hockey kind of went away, and then it was just all about driving a car and going fast. And then, can't really go too fast on the highways and roads without getting in trouble. So I said, what better way to do it is to go to a race car track. And then
that's a safe way to do it. Yeah.
So I started pretty much with my dad. We go to the old Barrie Speedway down in Barrie is where I kind of grew up, going there with my dad on the weekends there, and my two brothers. And from there, it just became a passion. Like I fell in love with it. I wanted to do it. I just knew it was going to be a matter of time before I get my hands on a car and go racing. It was just waiting for that right opportunity and right time, essentially. And then dirt just kind of came in, just worked to be into the picture. And I've actually never drove an asphalt racetrack. I just started on dirt and went to dirt and fell absolutely in love with it. Like, I'm obsessed with it from, oh, buddy, I couldn't even tell you. It's just nuts. Like, I love that crap. The feeling you get when you're in a car.
That's crazy to me. I really look at them and go, of all the things I only knew really asphalt racing here. And I think through this podcast, right, Graydon, I think we've kind of been our eyes open to how much the dirt world is big here. Like, it is not something small.
Well, like we've talked about just before we came on, before we started recording, I mean, we are asphalt guys, but I said half of my starts have come on dirt. I mean, it's an attraction, right? And once you get into it, it's like, oh my God, I see what everybody's talking about, right, Corey?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you finally go and hit a track and you turn right to go left, it just blows your mind at the actual, like the things that go on when you're in a car. You don't think about it. And next thing you know, you try to turn left and you're on the infield tractor tire having a great time.
Yeah. But I don't want to, it's not a disrespect to it's a discipline, right? Everybody picks their own. But as you said, when it's necessary to turn right to go left, I felt like in the legend car, I mean, it's such an amazing feeling where you're control, like on the ragged edge of control. And I mean, oh my God, it just, you can't describe it.
Yeah, you're like almost sideways with the car, and it's just like it's not like I don't know how to explain it. It's not going around the turn. You're like you're like drifting around the turn almost. It's crazy.
Yeah. Does your face hurt from smiling sometimes?
Oh, frig! The very first time I was on a dirt track, I think my friends were in the pits and they could hear me screaming from the car going down the backstretch, fist pumping about how much fun I was having. Like, it was absolutely insane.
It sounds familiar,
what
man.
What was that first dirt track? Was it Brighton that you went to?
Yeah. Yep. Brighton's been my only dirt track I've actually driven on so far. So I started back in Brighton. First time was 2018 in the Stinger car. It's your basic V6 front wheel drive Pontiac Grand Prix, stripped down, still had the dashboard in it. And I went and watched a buddy. He actually bought a car. His name was Jeff Watson. He pretty much bought the car. He went out and I just happened to go watch him one weekend. And I watched and I was like, you know what? I got to do it. Like, I just got to go get me a car and I got to try it. So I went out that week and bought a lime green Malibu. It was my first car. Yeah, lime green. It was the ugliest looking thing you could imagine. But you know what? I absolutely loved that car to death.
Getting behind the wheel that first time, then, Corey, how many times you spin out, or was it just natural?
God, I pretty much spun out the first turn because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just going in full throttle, didn't even care. I was like, we're just going to send this. We're going to have a good time doing it. And if we hit something, we hit something. If we make it, God help us.
Oh, man. I love this guy already.
Sounds familiar, doesn't it, Graydon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let her rip, Tater Chip. Let's go.
Oh, absolutely. If you ain't first, you're last, right? That's the way.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's funny because, like I said, I know World of Outlaws. That's what my experience was from dirt. And I thought, I can't watch these guys because they're nuts, right? Like, seriously.
You gotta have you do.
The balls that you got to have to drive that fast into a corner where you really don't have a ton of protection. Like, there's been a lot of loss in the World of Outlaws. And I mean, specifically, I'm talking about like the sprint cars, right? Like, those are the ones that I'm familiar with. Right, exactly. Absolutely crazy guys. And then of course you kind of you're in a class that I'm not really as familiar with. I mean, it's listed as a Canadian modified. I think my version of what a modified looks like really different from what a dirt modified looks like. The asphalt ones, you got the big front tires and everything like that. Well, I don't know what the kind of contraption is, but let's talk about kind of like, what is your car essentially? Like, where are you picking up the chassis from? Is it something that you built yourself?
Well, the car actually was a track championship car there at Brighton. So it was Andrew Hennessy's original car. It's a 2016 Shaw chassis. So Shaw themselves actually make the chassis. And then you could imagine the amount. Everything on that car is modified. There's not one stock part on that car besides maybe the brake rotors. And everything about that car is, you could change one little thing and it changes the setup completely, tightens it, loosens it, makes the car sit higher, sit lower, turn left, turn right, digs the car into the corner. It's just, there's so much you can do, and it's just so littlest things make that car go crazy. Like, you could do a half turn in the right rear and the whole car turns twice as fast into the corner for you. Like, it's just, it blows my mind at the amount of learning you can do, and like just basically trying different things every week. Because, like, don't get me wrong, Hennessy gave me a great setup to start with, but every driver's different. Every driver has their own feel of the car. And like, for me, I've never driven anything remotely close to a modified. So getting into that car was absolutely mind-blowing. Like, night and day. Like, I couldn't even describe the feeling to you. Like, the car picks up off the rails and you're literally floating in the air going down the straightaway, to the point where you, as soon as you lift, you're going into a wall. So you got to pretty much trick your brain into staying on the throttle the entire time, because as soon as you lift, the car wants to just kick right on you automatically. And for me, that was my biggest thing, was just not being a baby about it. I got to just get out there and just freaking drive the thing. And that was probably one of my biggest things. I got the heat part down, and, you know, practice fun. I can fly around the racetrack. Come feature time, when it's nice and slick, a lot of it comes down to foot control and hard, barely any braking. And then with these cars, you can put brake in the rear, you can put brake in the front. I can turn off the right front brake altogether. There's just so much you can do to these cars to make them want to turn. Like, we have it set up now where I think I'm at a pretty decent spot where the car already starts to turn for me into the turns. And I just got to help guide it, essentially. Like, you're barely moving your hands on the steering wheel almost.
What, in terms of power, like, what powers your race car and drivetrain and that sort of thing, Corey?
So with the Canadian modifieds, you can run, I run a 602 crate. So it's about 350 horsepower, 3-speed Segwin transmission. And it's got a J-bar in the back end that just, the whole back end just does its own thing, like up and down. And just, you can steer it basically from the rear of the car. Like, half the time the front left tire doesn't even touch the track going around, because you're just catwalking it. So like, I know you can run a built motor, but there's a lot of, like, you have to run smaller tires, and there's just different things that you have to do. So me, I'm so early into it, and I'm still in such a learning process with it, that with all the help I have, it's just easier to stay with the 602 crate right now. And in case something ever goes wrong, or if there's any problems, it's not hard. Well, I mean, they're expensive as heck, don't get me wrong. Like, I just blew one up at the end of last year, so I'm in trying to get it right now. They're just, it's very stock stuff with the engine, which is really good. And I have a pretty good, and I would think, an okay knowledge of it, but, you know, you're constantly learning with those cars.
I spent the NASCAR week at Oswego and just looking at all the different race cars there. And like you say, the suspension travel, like, as asphalt guys, it's totally foreign looking at all the different setups and the way they travel. And as you say, the rear suspensions are so amazing and all that sort of thing. It's a completely different discipline, as stickers and scuffs, of course. I mean, the tire analogy itself is not lent to dirt racing, but it's all a community, right? I mean, racing, it doesn't matter where you are, what discipline you pick. There's always a family atmosphere in every discipline you're in.
Couldn't agree more. Like, when I first got into this, I met a group of guys. So Dan Price, Graham Ennis, like, these guys, Graham Flett, they kind of just, like, absorbed me into their family almost. Like, it's amazing how fast I just connected with these guys. And then next thing you know, every single day we're either out at one guy's house or we're always together talking racing. And it blew me away. And, like, I would go to the ends of the earth for these guys now, and just, like, their family to me, essentially. And it took such a short period of time, but they're just such great people, and so like, it's very helpful. Like they'll go out of their way for like anything. Like Dan Price has got literally a car or trailer full of parts to build a whole nother car if you needed one at a track. I don't know how many times I've been pitted beside him. Some guy pops a hole in a radiator, and all of a sudden you see Dan pop out of the trailer. Here you go. I got one right here. Or he's got a spare transmission. Like, it just blows my mind. Like, I don't know. I'd be so screwed without those guys for sure. Like, each week going to the track, knowing that those guys are there to help me and be there, it's a huge benefit and a huge help to me for sure. Because I'd be so lost, like just lost.
It's funny. It's funny you say that, because I think Graydon, where do you think we can tie that into your experience? Really, when you went to the racetrack first time as a racer, it was literally in the outlaw midgets, and you had issues with the car, and literally every competitor was like, you had people coming. You had the champion Jessica James just walking up helping you. Like it's crazy how everybody, like, as a fan perspective, when we started this, we all thought, well, there's no way competitors help each other, right? Yeah. No way. And literally, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, that's
countless times.
We'll tie that in a couple of ways. I mean, competitors want to beat you fair and square. They don't want to see you sitting off watching the race happen in front of you. I mean, Rob McCall, the hooligan there, Rob Harrison, Jessica James, they all blew off their practice sessions and helped. This is where I'm tying it in on another level. Somebody that's a good friend to all of us here. There was nobody I wanted to have in my corner other than Wade Yarrow, as a guy that's so knowledgeable in terms of all the tracks around and everything. But I asked him to be, I thought it was more ceremonial at the time to be my crew chief, just having him there. But man, he turned wrenches in like the ultimate way. Like, all of us were changing engines on my race car and everything on our first trip to the track. This is tying the whole family thing together, man. But this is also a little sidebar to our show. But how about that Marshall Wade guy?
Oh, I couldn't say enough about that guy. He shows up every weekend with the biggest smile on his face, and he will literally do anything you ask without even questioning it. Like, if it's turn a wrench, if it's blow up a tire, if it's even just putting gas in the car, the guy just wants to be there. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, I don't know how many times he shows up in my work just to come and chat with me, or come and be like, "Hey man, guess what? I got some cool crap for you this week." It's like
the hat on your head,
buddy. Absolutely. I can't say enough about Wade, man. That guy, he is a phenomenal guy, and I'm so glad he's a part of the family. Pretty much, like, he's done so much for me over the last year. It's incredible. Like, I just can't say enough about the guy.
Yeah, that's a thing that you and I have in common, Corey, is that I can't explain how like a crew chief is like not only your head wrench, but he's your cheerleader and stuff. And man, I needed him in the worst way that day. And there was nobody else that I could have asked for in terms of just the experience, knowing Peterborough and the people around and everything. So that's our salute to you there, Wade, who's also the marketing guru on the side. That guy wears a lot of hats as a race fan. I mean,
doing something new every
massive props to that dude.
Oh yeah, constantly going.
Have we made him cry yet, Graydon? Do you think is he?
I don't know.
Yet?
We'll see.
He'll be emotional puddle.
Yeah, I thought so. I said, if we make him cry out of this, then we're doing our job, eh?
Yes.
I love this. Like, it's such a good conversation, because we've talked about the people that you meet. You mentioned a couple of those names, Graham and Dan. That's not the first time we've heard that.
Yeah, those Price boys are good fellas.
We've heard some of these names before, right? Like, on the asphalt side, I'm pretty certain there's a name, Fine, who we've heard mention. Amanda Balson, I believe, has mentioned Graham before. So, you know, they know, and it's
word gets around who's good guys and who's like good folk.
It's Lawrence is out in Delaware. It's the same situation. It's like there's people that just, you know, no matter what, just buckle up and try to help. And
I don't know who I haven't talked to. Like, Graham's got his hand in every cookie jar. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, I don't know. You talk to any driver, he's touched that car, he's worked on that car, he's fabricated it in some way to make it amazing. Like the stuff I see come into his shop and go out of his shop absolutely blows my mind what that guy can do. Like it's phenomenal. And like the knowledge he has, and even Dan, like Amanda's car, for example, like that car was in there a fair bit this year, just with the bad luck she had, and unfortunately, and like watching him rebuild a car in a week, it was just mind blowing. Like the guy just phenomenal, out of this world stuff.
Yeah, and it's these are the stories that we want to hear on this podcast. That these are the ones that we want to bring, because everybody sees the drivers, they see the media, they see the crew members. They don't see the background. They don't see the unsung heroes. And those are the names that we're talking about right now. They're the ones that are making it happen. Justin Wade's case with doing marketing for you this year, working on the car, doing whatever he can. I'm curious, Corey, how easy it's been to find people to work on a crew, because one of the things that we hear a lot of the times is, man, we need help. We need help. And
it's like a trades problem, not even just a racing problem.
It is though, because a lot of it's I want to work from home. I want to work on a computer. There's not that I want to go work on 3 different types of cars tonight. We had Kevin Trevelyan on this show, and we're talking about Kevin Trevelyan winning a championship and doing what he's doing. He's talking about how he's finishing his regular day job and staying at work to then work on the cars, right? Yep. That's just a mentality that you are not born with. You have to learn how to work hard like that.
Yeah. Like I've watched Graham go, like I work with Graham actually down at Kerr Industries, and we work 8 to 5, and he gets off work and he goes straight to his shop, and he's at that shop till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, sometimes even, 1 in the morning, working on cars. And it's just, it's a passion. Like you got to love it. Cause like, don't get me wrong. We put in lots and lots of hours on these cars behind the videos and behind the pictures, and then a lot goes into these things. Like for sure. Like we'll spend 40 hours a week working on race cars. Like it just, you don't see that but like, guys like Wade, like he and Graham, like these guys, for me to find them is like a dime a dozen. Like it's impossible. But once you find them and they become like part of your family almost, you don't screw it up. Like you just don't, because like you're so screwed as soon as you do. Like let me tell you, without those boys, I'd be so freaking lost, and I'd be still working on the car after week 1 and week 16, trying to still get it back together.
Well, and you got a top 10 in the championship this year. Obviously, you had a tough couple ends to the year. I mean, that you said, like shit happens, right? And there's not much you can do about it. I'm curious, in fact, about the chaos that happens out on a dirt track, because the one thing that I misinterpreted was how chaotic dirt racing was, because for the most of those dirt races, they're clean. I was blown away with how we can't seem to make it through one turn in the Cup Series without wrecking half the field in a lot of racetracks. Yet guys that are running on something that you wouldn't have thought cars would be able to turn around in and not wreck. And I guess my question really is the damage. Are we talking write-offs here? Like, I can't imagine that the cars get involved too severely.
With these cars, like my modified, like I can't speak for other divisions, but I know for like with my car and the way Graham has built it for me, these cars are basically sheet metal and bars. So like we unfortunately got wrecked pretty good very night 1. We got ran over coming past the checkered flag. Back and forth of whose fault it was. We won't really talk about that. We'll just say it was my fault. We'll call it a day. But we got destroyed. Like our whole driver's side, literally, buddy pretty much put his front tire in my car. And you can take these cars apart and you can just beat them with a rubber mallet and put them back straight. For me, I never knew that, and I didn't know how easy it was really to fix these. Like we ran the same body all year long. We didn't change it once, and I probably got beat up. Like every race, you'd go out and there'd be a bent quarter panel, or you'd fold in a door. But like these cars are just, there's so much leeway on the inside of them. I would say that it's just very easy to pound them out with a rubber hammer. Like it ain't the prettiest thing in the world. She ain't winning no beauty pageant. Don't get me wrong, but like You could just beat her with a rubber hammer, strap her back on, and she's ready to go. And a big thing with that would be Dan. Like, he taught me, like, when we would wreck in week 1, I was beside myself. I was like, oh my God, this is catastrophic. We're done. Like, my whole life's over. Having a hissy fit, freaking out in the pits. And Dan looks at me and he goes, that ain't even that bad. Like, we'll just take a hammer, pound her out. She'll be ready to go next week. And it just blows my mind at how fast and easy it is to put these cars back together once you've done that. It might be a little different for asphalt guys. Like, I know with the late models, they got some fiberglass bodies and stuff like that. But with the sheet metal, they bend and they take a beating and they just come right back. Like, it's phenomenal how much you can actually do to these cars.
It's just, I guess it would be cost saving in a way, right? You're not spending all that money replacing piece after piece. I mean, we talked about this, Graydon, about how many pieces at the
even saving time. I mean,
right? Well, it's just the availability, right? You can't run a Pinty's race if you don't have every panel on the car, right? And you don't have the option of, using a mallet and hitting it back together.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's remarkable to hear that. I mean, it's one of the things that we've kind of realized this past year, Corey, is just the amount of such amazing racing divisions that you can literally go out and they don't break the bank for you. I mean, the bone stock division we've talked about with the Lawrences, like, hell, you can go out there and get yourself a piece of crap Sunfire, even though they're not piece of crap, they run forever. But you go out there and hell, you can run a full season on the same car, no problem, right? And it won't cost you a crazy amount of money. You don't have to have a ton of experience, but I'm curious for you. You've been in this. Do you need to have racing experience before you go on dirt based on your own experience?
My suggestion would be, if you're going to do it, start in a lower division where you can kind of pace yourself, figure out if it's actually something you want to do, because like, it's completely different than asphalt. Like, you got to love it, or you either I find it's you either love it or hate it. Like, there's no in between with dirt. It's like you're either obsessed with it or you want to go and drive an asphalt car. But like, if my honest opinion would be starting a Stinger class, starting a Comp 4 or mini stock class, and then do it for a year or two, make sure it's something you want before you go and drop the big penny. Like, that modified, I just happened to luck into it. Like, it was for sale and it was a quick buy because I knew it was going to go fast, and it was either, we came into some money with selling the house during COVID, so we got a little bit extra. So we were like, let's do this. We're going to do it. We might as well try. So we spent the money on it because it's a little expensive up front. Like, don't get me wrong. I think we were like 18 for the car, another 9 for the trailer. And then the bodies anywhere from 3 to 4. Tires can get a little expensive, but best thing about dirt is I can run in one set of tires all year long.
See, that's the key right there. That's the key. I mean, that's where they're getting killed, right? Pinty's, for example, perfect example is it's like $400 a tire per race.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Like, that's disgusting. And I mean, for our own dirt guru next to me, I mean, he definitely got an opportunity to race in that. It's interesting because I guess, again, to my my own ignorance over dirt racing, being an asphalt guy, I expected to see the Cup Series at Bristol the first time with mud essentially and everybody overheating, and no idea that the way that it's run up here is really good. I mean, the races that we've seen at Brighton, Merrittville, and Ohsweken Speedway, thanks to G-Force. I have not been to a dirt race yet, unfortunately.
I'm gonna get you there. Don't worry.
We have been told, yes, that we have to, but it is unlike anything else. You're going home with dirt on your face. I'm curious though, as a driver, how much you end up going home with.
I'd probably go home with a sandbox full of dirt each night. Like, pretty crazy. My best suggestion, if you're going to come watch, bring some safety glasses, because staring into the track, it's a constant dirt. It depends, sometimes they do a good job. Like, they do a great job at Brighton setting the track up every night. As the track obviously slicks off, it gets drier, it gets a little more dusty. So you'll have dirt in your ears, up your nose, like you go to blow your nose and it's just pure black because you're snorting out dirt. But honestly, I think that's what makes us crazy and how much we love it. It's because I can come home and I just take a shower, and the bottom of my shower is just a sandbox. It's just mud. Like, I got it in my butt crack. I got it up my ears. Like, you can imagine, it's everywhere.
It's the full experience.
No suits at the racetrack, the dirt racetrack.
Oh, don't be wearing anything you want to wear to Sunday, because like it ain't gonna be good when you get there.
You're wearing the team colors right now, and you got yourself a bit of an early Christmas present. Speaking of race car bodies and stuff, that thing looks pretty sweet, man.
Really sharp.
Yeah, Graham, like I said, that man does magic things. Like, you give him a car, I gave him a beat up car, and he made that thing look like it's a brand new car I just pulled off the line. Like, I can't say enough. Like, the guy is just phenomenal, and like that car is the nicest thing I probably ever owned. Like, it's nicer than my truck, for Christ's sake. Like to be serious. Like, that thing is my baby, and I think we're only about 3,000 into that body, the whole entire body, which is nothing. Like, at the end of the day, from these guys spending 500 to 1,000 on one fender in some cars, it's just, we did a little different route. We went with a fiberglass roof. The actual driver door and quarter panels are plastic this year. They're not sheet metal. So there's a company out of the States called Stark that they actually deal with the World of Outlaws, and a lot of these big name guys do it. And apparently these body panels will just take an absolute shit kicking up and down, and then they just come right back.
Nice.
Like, every video we've watched, like, you can concave the rear quarter panel in and put it pretty much upside down, and all of a sudden you just whack it, she comes straight back and she's straight again. So we're gonna try that out, and hopefully, she'll last a little longer than one night this time. That'd be the driver's
great
fault.
that you bring that up. Actually, I mean, that technology, I guess you'd say, is becoming more commonplace. I mean, to your point, I mean, it's great to be able to take a rubber mallet and beat the body back and take some aggression out when you get some sheet metal bent in. But at the same time, if you have a panel that's, for lack of a better term, like a recycling box, if you kick it in, it'll just rebound back out. I mean, if you can get better wear out of that panel for an entire season or half a season or whatever, I mean, the idea is to reduce operating costs. And for an owner operator like yourself, this is like working knowledge. You're going to find out whether this is worth it or not, right?
It's a test run for sure, but everything we've heard about this it seems to be a good way to go. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love working on a race car, just not every single night.
Yeah.
Trying to put it back together. So hopefully this will be a little more.
Yeah, and that's kind of thing. It's as an like owner operators and or owner drivers, I guess, like, you're spending a lot of time in the shop. And if that's one thing that you don't have to worry about beating a panel out for, even if it's half an hour, it's not necessarily dollars per hour if you're doing it yourself. But if you are, you're paying a shop hand, or it's just money saved or time saved, regardless, 100%. If that panel just bounces itself back out after it gets a little contact or something like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Time is money. So, I mean,
and it's all about.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, man. It's just it. Like, the racing bottom line is so thin as it is that if it helps you in any sort of way, that's got to be good.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, I got a 3-year-old at home, so as much time as I can come home and spend with him and my wife, better. I know she gets like a little vacation every summer because she's like, thank God you're going racing. Now I get my time to myself. She loves kicking me out of the house, trust me. But she's like one of my biggest supporters. Her and my little man Colton, they've been there from the start. And if it wasn't for them, they definitely wouldn't be doing it, because, happy wife, happy life, right? So she's got to be happy and supportive at the same time, as much as I love doing it too, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Totally get it. Yep.
And you get to be able to do it because you have some amazing partners that are on your race car, and master segues, Cam K right here. So we always like to give the opportunity, Corey, for you to shout out your partners. And before we get to that, we want to obviously extend our gratitude for running us on your dirt car last year. That was our first experience being on a dirt car, and we're excited to announce that you're going to be carrying us once again for 2023.
Might look good on that black body paint.
I'm really excited to see how it looks on that car. So we'll be getting the decals out in the new year. But let's shout out your sponsors, Corey.
All right, so I had to write this down so I didn't freaking miss anybody because I don't know how many times I've done this. So obviously we'll start with my wife and my kid and the family for sure. The crew, I got 2 guys, Tyler Porter, Brandon Harris, Graham Ennis, Dan always being at the track to help me. Oh, God. Graham Flett, Paul, Sean, even Ryan Kimball. He runs asphalt, and he's been a huge help too when he can. Sponsor-wise, I got to thank, obviously, Graham Ennis. He's got his own company called GTA Fabrication. They do all the bodywork, as you guys can see with the new crew. Flathead Designs, which is Graham Flett. He does pretty much my wraps, all the design and decals on the car. That's all him. Worldwide Turf is my dad's company. They do artificial sports fields all over Canada and the States. Oshawa Community Credit Union. They came on board for the first time last year, and I couldn't be more happier. Obviously, Wade and Fastenal. Like, what can I say? Like, it just blows my mind. John and Sandy at J&J Installations in Port Perry. They're one of my biggest sponsors for sure, and I really appreciate all they've done for me. Like, without these guys, I wouldn't be able to race. Like, that's the way it is, right? And also Scott at Drill Co. and Walter Surfacing Technologies. They're going to be a new sponsor on the car this year. So I want to welcome them aboard too, and I look forward to having them on. And obviously you guys are more than welcome to be on that car because you guys are amazing, right? So you guys have me on the podcast for the first time ever. So this is like freaking Hollywood.
Yeah, we don't know about that, but we'll be looking forward to seeing Corey Halbert all season long. Are you still going to run at Brighton Speedway next year, or are we going to go out to any other events next year?
We're getting a little more comfortable with it, so I think we might venture out a little bit this year. It's still in the works, obviously. We're definitely going to run full-time at Brighton again. We're going to try and go, and our goal is probably hit a top 5 in points this year. So we're going to try and aim for that for sure. Be a little more aggressive, hopefully get a feature win. We got a couple I got our first heat win last year and a few top 5s. So that was really big for me. So just getting more seat time, right? I know they have a couple races down at like South Buxton and Merrittville later on in the year where they run the mods. So we might venture out that way. And there's been some talks about maybe going to the States for a race or two, but we'll have to wait and see. That's kind of, dream down the road, essentially. So we're definitely going to run full-time at Brighton and hopefully maybe get out for a couple races away from home and try out some new tracks for sure.
Corey Halbert.
Man, definitely. Yeah. Keep us
Graydon's
posted.
Going to wrap it up.
Yeah, I was just going to keep us posted, man. And we can't thank you enough for the time. And it was really cool to learn about your discipline and your car, and we can't wait to hear how 2023 goes for you, man.
Oh, absolutely, guys. I appreciate you having me on, and like I said, this is a first for me, so this is awesome. I can't thank you guys enough. Like, it's just nice to be able to talk to some people about it and like get my sponsors out there and just all my friends and family too, get them some recognition for sure. Because like I said, I'm nothing without them and you guys. So at the end of the day, it's a family. It's a huge family, so we just got to keep motoring along and go from there.
That's likewise too, man. We're nothing without guys like you, man. We love hearing stories about you're just like you and I are not that different, man. It's cool to hear. Just living the dream and racing cars. It's something that everybody loves to hear. I mean, who doesn't love stories of going fast? And we appreciate it so much, man.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much for having me. Really, I can say enough, but you guys have been great, and I can't thank you enough. Yeah, so you guys have been awesome.
Well, enough buttering us up for this episode. We're gonna go and enjoy that, but tune in next week for our next episode of the Stickers and Scuffs podcast.